Welcome to VNA News Bulletin. Coming up next are our top stories.
President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro Moros, pays official visit to Vietnam. National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng meets Speaker of the Japanese House of Representatives, Tadamori Oshima. More than 18,200 prisoners nationwide are released under the state president's decision on amnesty.
President of Venezuela, Nicolas Maduro Moros, has been on an official visit to Vietnam. His visit is meant to strengthen bilateral ties by sharing initiatives to expand investment and fostering closer mutual support at regional and global forums. Following the welcome ceremony on August 31st, President Trương Tấn Sang held talks with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro Moros. The two sides informed each other of the situation in their respective countries and discussed various measures to develop the friendship and comprehensive cooperation between Vietnam and Venezuela in a more practical and effective manner. The leaders affirmed their support for the implementation of cooperation projects between the two countries in a wide range of fields, including manufacturing, processing, infrastructure, and housing construction. President Moros affirmed that Venezuela is willing to act as a bridge for Vietnam to strengthen economic and trade relations with Caribbean nations. Regarding international and regional matters, the two presidents held that territorial disputes must be settled through peaceful measures on the basis of international law, especially the United Nations Charter and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea in 1982.
The same day, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng received President Nicolas Maduro Moros, who is also president of the United Socialist Party of Venezuela. President Moros spoke highly of Vietnam's role and position in the region and the world at large. He expressed his wish to beef up cooperative ties with Vietnam, including relations between the two parties, and emphasized the need to coordinate and support each other at regional and international forums. For his part, General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng affirms Vietnam's consistent policy of treasuring cooperative relations with traditional friends, including Venezuela. The party leader urged Vietnam and Venezuela to further enhance the solidarity, friendship, and cooperation between the two parties, states, and people by increasing the exchange of visits and sharing experience. In the afternoon of August 31st, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng met with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro Moros. Prime Minister Dũng describes the visit of President Moros as a milestone, thus lifting cooperative ties between the two countries to a new height. Having praised the results of the talks between two presidents, Prime Minister Dũng affirmed that the Vietnamese government will spare no efforts to effectively implement agreements reached by the senior leaders. President Moros said Venezuela has paid due attention to fostering cooperation with Vietnam in all fields. He confirmed his support for Vietnam's foreign policy, as well as its stance on regional and international issues, including the settlement of disputes in the East Sea through peaceful measures and in line with international law. The two leaders agreed to actively implement the freshly signed free trade agreements in a bid to reach the target of $1 billion in bilateral trade.
Later on that day, National Assembly Vice Chairwoman Tòng Thị Phóng hosted a reception for President Moros. The lawmaker said Vietnam treasures friendly ties with Venezuela and urged the two nations to foster cooperation in oil and gas industry, agriculture, energy, and technology. For his part, President Moros expressed his desire for stronger cooperation between Venezuela and Vietnam in general and between the two parliaments in particular. Also on August 31st, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Phạm Bình Minh met with Venezuelan Foreign Minister Delcy Elena Rodriguez Gomez. The two ministers agreed to maintain the political consultation mechanism between the foreign ministries in order to foster the multifaceted cooperation between Vietnam and Venezuela. The two sides agreed to work together closely to implement the results reached during the ongoing visit of the Venezuelan president. Regarding multilateral cooperation, the two sides expressed pleasure with their similar stances on regional and global issues and promised to step up cooperation in international forums and organizations. The government's monthly meeting opened in Hanoi on August 31st under the chair of Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng. Our reporters with more details.
In its report, the Ministry of Planning and Investment affirmed that Vietnam's macroeconomy has been kept under control and recovery maintained on track during the first 8 months of 2015, despite complicated global economic fluctuations. The ministry highlighted slow pace of the consumer price index, the quickened credit growth rate as compared to the same period last year, stable interest rates, and flexible adjustments to exchange rates. During the 8-month period, industries posted much higher growth rates than those of previous years, especially in processing and manufacturing. A rise was seen in the amounts of registered and disbursed foreign direct investment, and Vietnam sustained its growth momentum in overseas shipments and the import of materials and machinery serving production and export. Meanwhile, the trade deficit was under control. During the two-day meeting until September 1st, the government will scrutinize reports on the 2016 Draft Socio-Economic Development Plan, the Public Investments Plan between 2016-2020, the state's budget used this year, and estimates for 2016, along with outcomes of the restructuring of state-owned enterprises in the 8 months. A national plan on land use for the next 5 years and draft laws will also put on the table.
Vietnamese National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng has been in New York to attend the 4th World Conference of Speakers of Parliament at the UN headquarters from August 31st to September 2nd. The following are his activities on the sideline of the event.
Meeting with Speaker of the Japanese House of Representatives Tadamori Oshima, the National Assembly leader suggested that the two nations should continue holding high-level meetings on a regular basis and ramp up exchange activities between the two parliaments as well as the Friendship Parliamentarians Unions to further strengthen the bilateral strategic partnership. Chairman Hùng expressed his hope that the Japanese parliament will support the implementation of high-level economic agreements signed between the two countries, as well as continued provision of official development assistance from the Japanese government to help Vietnam become an industrialized nation by 2020. Regarding the regional tension in the East Sea, the National Assembly leader said that Vietnam maintains its stance of settling the current disputes via peaceful resolutions in accordance with international laws, and hopes involved parties will soon agree upon a code of conduct in the East Sea. He took this occasion to thank Japan for its support in this matter. For his part, Speaker Oshima praised the strong development of the extensive strategic partnership for peace and prosperity in Asia between Vietnam and Japan. He also reaffirmed that Japan treasures its relationship with Vietnam, which is regarded as a key focus in its external policies. The same day, National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng visited the staff of the Permanent Mission of Vietnam to the United Nations. The top legislator called on the Permanent Mission to work tirelessly to unite the overseas Vietnamese community in New York and inspire love for their home country.
As many as 285 domestic and 14 foreign inmates at the Thanh Xuân detention camp in Hanoi were freed on August 31st under the state president's decision on amnesty. Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc, chairman of the Central Advisory Council on Amnesty, said the state decided to grant clemency to inmates with positive rehabilitation on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of National Day. He said the amnesty policy reflects the humanitarian tradition of the Vietnamese nation, which encourages offenders to rehabilitate and become useful members of society. He said people and authorities across the country created all favorable conditions for the pardoned inmates to reintegrate into the community. He encouraged those who are not eligible for this year's amnesty to make greater efforts to rehabilitate. Under the president's decision on amnesty, more than 18,200 prisoners serving jail terms and eligible for amnesty according to state law were freed ahead of their scheduled release. Coast Guards of Vietnam and India held a search and rescue drill off the coast of Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu province. The activity took place during the Vietnam visit of the Indian patrol vessel Sarang 44.
The hypothetical scenario presented the transport ship M1 of Vietnam with 7 crew members in flames with subsailors in the sea at buoy area number 0, approximately 10 nautical miles from Vũng Tau's shore. The ship had a high risk of explosion, presenting the potential for vast casualties. After receiving the alert, Vietnam Coast Guard vessel 8001 was deployed to the scene to implement search and rescue measures, approach an attempt to douse flames and save those at sea. At the same time, the Sarang 44 Coast Guard vessel, which was sailing past the area, participated in the joint search and rescue coordination after receiving the distress signal.
This is the first time Vietnamese and Indian Coast Guard have held a search and rescue drill at sea, and that through the drill, both sides improved their leadership and search and rescue experience.
The drill aimed to strengthen cooperation and experience sharing in search and rescue activities and dealing with disasters at sea, as well as deepen ties between the two forces.
Vietnam has usurped Japan for the first time to become the 4th largest importer of products from the Republic of Korea in the first 7 months of this year. More details coming up next.
The Korea International Trade Association and the Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency reported exports from the Republic of Korea to Vietnam reached $16.35 billion, while the amount to Japan was worth $15.48 billion. The country's shipments of wireless communication device components to Vietnam shot up by nearly 30% from the same period last year. Last year, the Republic of Korea generated $22.35 billion from shipments to Vietnam, lower than the amount gained from Japan, which stood at $32.18 billion.
Pleiku Airport in the Central Highlands province of Gia Lai will be reopened from September 1st, in line with a decision by the Ministry of Transport.
Flights from and to Pleiku Airport were halted from March this year as the airport's major facilities were upgraded to be capable of receiving big planes. The two-phase upgrade project began last September at a cost of $43.3 million. In its second phase, the airport was closed temporarily for over 6 months given construction works on its runway. The runway was enlarged from 36 meters in width to 45 meters and from 1,830 meters in length to 2,400 meters in order to accommodate A321, Boeing 737, and other equivalently sized aircraft. In addition, the terminal was renovated to serve up to 600 passengers during peak time. At present, only Vietnam Airlines is using the airport, with flights arriving from Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City. In the future, 2 low-cost airlines, Vietjet Air and Jetstar Pacific, will also land in the airport.
Another 6 ethnic villages in Bắc Yên district in the northern mountainous province of Sơn La have just been connected to the national power grid under a local project.
The Sơn La Electric City Company said the link came just in time for local residents in 7 out of 10 villages in the commune to celebrate the 70th anniversary of National Day. The project funded the construction of 2 transformers and 54 pillars and the installation of more than 7 kilometers of cable and hundreds of power reading meters. The rate of households currently using electricity in the province is nearly 86%, below the country's average. About 27,000 households in the province still lack access to electricity. To ensure our remote villages are connected with the national grid, the province and the Northern Power Corporation, under the Electric City of Vietnam, launched a project to supply electricity to the targeted families in September. The project, worth $6.25 million, aims to connect 5,345 households in 72 remote villages to the national grid. Another project, worth $25.8 million that began in May 2012, has so far supplied electricity to 20,836 households in the locality.
And we have come to the end of our news bulletin. Thank you for your attention. For more information, you can log on to our website at vietnamplus.vn. We'll see you again soon.